that's kind of the message that I've had all along. And if you have any questions, that would be easier.
Somebody doesn't raise their hand, I'm going to call them. Can we stand up just so everybody else can hear?
I relate completely with how you say this area, it doesn't retain young educated people, and this area is a kind of tool for welfare. And how are you going to reach the young educated people of this area? Let them know you're here. What is the plan?
The problem that New York State has, it has one of the best educational systems in the country, which makes it one of the best in the world. There are 11 or 12 big universities in this district alone. We educate people, but we can't keep them here because we don't have jobs for them. And the answer to your question is not a simple one, because you can't take 40 years and destroy your economy and watch everything move away and penalize everybody that wants to start a business. And I'll tell you, I've been in business all my life. I've never had a paycheck that I didn't sign myself, and that means I skipped a few. But if businesses don't do well, we can't do it. The state can't do it. And any time the growth of government exceeds our ability to pay, you go backwards. And that's something you can relate to the state product or the gross domestic product, but that's what's happened. We have allowed government to do what we're not allowed to do. We have allowed them to pass on to us a debt and an annual bill in a number of formats, whether it's sales tax or a number of other things, that basically are stacked to guarantee failure. Over time, it's slow. It's almost like watching a frog boil. It doesn't feel it, but eventually it dies. That's what we're going through. It's a shame that New York State has not been able to grasp that, and we saw the food fight that happened in the Senate this past summer. It's probably been going on like that behind the scenes. You shouldn't have to go bankrupt to be adults. You shouldn't have to fail in order to start over again. I mean, we don't pay people that, legislators to pay that. So to answer your question, there is one thing that people need to build their communities. They need confidence. I mean, low taxes are great, but, and that's critical, and there's a lot of other things. But if you don't have confidence in your ability to plan and look forward and have confidence in your government that they're doing the right thing and they're leading you down the right path, people don't come. New York State's become the one place everybody goes away from and the last place you go to. And what New York State's forgotten is we live in a competitive world. There's 50 other places, 49 other places in the U.S. that you can go. And now we know that there's there's hundreds of other countries you can go to have your products built. So we have put ourselves at a competitive disadvantage that's going to last a long time. But that doesn't mean you can't change. It doesn't mean you can't start change someplace. And I think the government, the growth of government is just out of control. It's just that simple for me. I wish I had a better answer, but the truth is, you can't look at what we've done for all these years and not kind of know where you're going. And here we are. We're facing it now. I think we're at a pivotal point in this country. We are literally bankrupting ourselves. That's exactly the word. We're suffering the consequences of our actions and inactions.
I saw in the news today that February expenses were $240 billion to run the country for that month. And unfortunately, a lot of the money that we're going to be spending, or that we spent, we're ending up borrowing from either China or Saudi Arabia or the Emirates or whoever. How do you see, as the government is right now, and hopefully it will change in in November, how are we going to be able to slow this down so that we can start paying back some of the debt, or at least making arrangements to survive it?
Well, the classic economic answer is you have to grow your economy. Just like you grow your business, you can pay more out because you're making more. The trouble with that is that we're not growing our economy. The estimates are that we'd have to grow it 2 to 3 times as fast as we are in order to have enough taxable income And don't forget, these interest rates are historically near, they're near zero. So if we raise, if sovereign debt all over the world is being issued, people are printing money like crazy. At these low rates, it's unmanageable. Imagine what it is if we can't get China to buy our debt, or India. Almost 60% of our, 40% of our national debt is owned by foreigners. So, there's not an easy answer to it. I mean, their answer would be you got to grow your way out of it. How do you grow your way out of it when last year was the largest deficit in history? This year is larger yet. You got $1 trillion health care, and they say they're going to take it out of Medicare. Well, if there's $500 billion in Medicare to be had over the next 10 years, why aren't they already taken? Most people don't agree with that number, but that's what you hear. So these are scary times. They're not scary for most of us. We're kind of okay as a group. You might be in trouble. But the point is, we're failing our children, and that sounds trite to say, but it's really true. We've become petulant, and I think somewhat spoiled. We've forgotten how to sacrifice, and the expectations that are built into people's lives. When I was growing up, and I'm sure all of you knew you had to produce. Well, the message isn't out there the same anymore. And the pool of people that can pay for it are disappearing. Social Security was, I think it's something like, when it first started, it was 34 or so people every one. Pretty soon it's going to be 3 or 4. And it's going to be broke, Social Security, by the year 2017. And maybe sooner now, because of the job loss, more people are retiring earlier. There's a lot to worry about. But you're not going to fix it by piling on more debt.
It's, it's just so scary that our children and grandchildren are going to have to pay this debt, and I don't see anybody standing up and saying, hey, we got to stop this. We can't afford the health care plan. We can't afford cap and trade. We've got to put a limit on all those things and just settle back and say, well, I guess we'll have to go without it.
No, I agree with that. I mean, you can't, in upstate New York, we almost paid I don't know, you guys all heat with, you don't have natural gas here, do you?
Yeah.
So, natural gas isn't so bad, but if you heat with oil, it was upwards close to $4 a gallon not that long ago. It could be that again. That means that's got to come from someplace. And how many people do you know, if the average home maybe takes 1,000 gallons, how many people do you know with $4,000 to heat their house? I don't know very many.